It's a very rare thing for me to say, but good evening, fellow bakers, and welcome to the Gringo Baker channel. I'm going to do a couple of things different. One is I'm doing this in the evening, and I never do this in the evening because of the lighting. And the second is I'm actually going to be preparing not a dessert. I'm going to be making a potato and onion hash, I guess, and salmon patties. So hang on and let's get started with this. For the potato hash, you're going to need potatoes. These are gold flesh potatoes, and I've got 2 onions, and we're going to slice those all up. We'll fry the onions and we'll boil the potatoes, and then we'll fry the potatoes with the onions. You want to get if there's any eyes or bruises on the potatoes, you want to get them off. And these have bolts. I'm really not intending to peel the potatoes, but I do want to get a lot of the blemishes off. My brothers and I and an occasional friend used to go on weekend or week-long fishing trips, and we would try to make food last. And then one trip I made this, what we now call cholesterol hash, which is, it starts with salt pork, and then it's got onions and potatoes in it, and it's pretty salty. So it's either heart attack on a plate or cholesterol hash. But this is kind of a variation of that, except it doesn't have the salt pork, and it doesn't. Oh, and that also had a 1 can of corned beef hash in it, so it doesn't have that either. After I've got the blemishes and bad spots and eyes out of the potatoes, then I set my little slicer to the thickest setting, and that's what we have at this point. Now we're going to put a little salt in there, and then we're going to put water in the pan and put it on the stove and cook it up. When you cook the potatoes, you don't want to get them mushy. You just want to get them so that mostly cooked, because they're going to cook some more when you fry them. And if you start out with them too mushy, you're going to end up with mashed potato hash. All right, with the onions, I back this thing off to 2. This little slicer is a pretty handy gadget. I've had it for a number of years, and in those years it has had a lot of use. It's been used to make everything from bread and butter pickles to cholesterol hash. But I will say one thing for this little slicer: it is sharp. That's why I use that little pusher, because once, a long time ago, when I first got this thing, I didn't use that little pusher one time. It was several days to heal up from that slice. What we're going to do with the onions now is we're going to put them in a little olive oil and fry them up till they're almost entirely done, actually, because I like my onions quite well done. Many people don't, I guess, but I do. To me, it gives them more flavor. I'd move the cameras over to the stove, except that we've all seen onions and potatoes cooked before. I need some chopped onions for my salmon patties, so we're going to slice a few to get at least one dimension uniform in those things. And then chop them up pretty fine. If you've not watched any of my other videos, you don't know that I live in Puerto Rico, which is why it's Gringo Baker. But it gets dark early in Puerto Rico. It's 7 o'clock and it's dark, and has been for a while. So we're going to take a small bowl and we'll just take a couple of spoonfuls of these onions. Which I'm guessing is about 3 tablespoons. A little bit more will be. That's about 3 tablespoons. There is nothing precise about this food. Nothing. Except the can has a weight on it. Other than that, there's nothing precise. Everything is pretty much, yeah, that looks good. This is a can of pink salmon that I've drained. It's got bones and skin and all that stuff in it. It's not a can you just want to throw in the kitchen trash, because it smells. Then we break this up. Mix the onion in with it a little bit. And I'm going to use some Italian breadcrumbs, Italian seasoned breadcrumbs. I'm going to take a stab that a quarter cup's going to be adequate, because I'm also going to use some Ritz crackers. Last time I made this, I made it with straight Ritz crackers and it was good, but thought I'd just be a little more adventurous this time. Which, for those who know me, you know, that doesn't happen often when it comes to food. I'm pretty picky. That's a polite way of saying really fussy. That's going to work out to be the right amount. And then, because this won't stay together at all at this point, what we're going to do next is we're going to take an egg and we're going to crack that egg into a bowl. Take a fork, beat it up some, and pour it in our mixing bowl. And then we're going to mix it together. Get that egg incorporated in there to bind this all together. I think on the way to doing that, though, I'm going to give it a couple of shakes of pepper. Okay, well, like 10 shakes of pepper. And there you have a really unappetizing looking bowl of food. So when the potatoes are cooked and the onions are fried, I mix them both together and I the potatoes at that point are still just slices, so I kind of chop them up as I go. And then I fry them until there's some crispy parts of it. And I add pepper, and it's already hopefully got enough salt, and we go from there. When it's mostly cooked, then I make these patties and fry them. A little more olive oil. Put the pan on the stove and start it heating up, and make some patties. And make them the size of a decent sized hamburger patty. I try to make them as uniform in thickness as I can, because otherwise they're going to cook at some pretty different rates. That is a patty. I don't know. There we go. You keep it in the refrigerator fairly well, and you just put them back in a frying pan to heat them up again when you want them. And I suspect I'll be having them for lunch tomorrow. I'd like to ask you to give me a thumbs up if you like the video, subscribe if you like the video, make a comment, and actually you can comment either way. If there's a problem with the video that you don't like, let me know that, because without some constructive criticism, I can't make it better.